Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuned into Attention to Orders. I'm your host, Big Sarge. All my Vietnam veterans, welcome home. Germany, good night. All my active duty military personnel that's downrange, good night. It is now time for Big Sarge's Article 15. Come get this work on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm out. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Big Sarge here, host of the Attention to Orders podcast. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I know it ain't even 12 o'clock yet, Sergeant. You're just loud. I am. I tend to be. I wake up with a lot of energy. I guess because I just wake up happy knowing the fact that I woke up. That could be the reason. Anyway, what's going on, y'all? Good morning. Happy Friday to you. First of all, let me give my condolences to the people who of Louisiana who may have lost loved ones or lost property or lost property and had a lot of damage that was caused by Hurricane Laura. Let me just go ahead and say that you got my condolences. I know it's going to be hard to rebuild, and it seems like every 3 years you have to start over and start over and start over. And so, Big Sarge is here for you. You have my you have my condolences on everything that you're going through. And I know that mentally it's hard to deal with because you just got over it during the whole Hurricane Harvey and things like that, and now it comes right back. So you got my condolences. All right, look, I just want to go on here real quick because hold on. I'm going to let this say it all. You see what that says right there? It says lazy hypocrites. And the reason why it says lazy hypocrites is because, I try my best. I promise you. I try my best to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I try my best to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And I also try to look at it as, everybody should have unlimited data right now on their everybody should have unlimited data on their cell phone plans. Everybody should have access to the internet. Everybody should have access to Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever, MSN, whatever search engine that you use. Everybody has access to that or should have access to that, right? If you don't have it in the form of a laptop or a desktop computer, you definitely have it in the form of even prepaid phones. You can get the internet service on there. So everybody should have access to the internet. With that being said, I don't know why I keep giving these people out here who just looking for clicks, likes, retweets, controversial statements. I don't know why I give credence to you. I don't know why I give you all a platform. And the reason why I say that is because I've sat back and I just said, I'm going to wait and I'm going to watch. I'm going to wait and I'm going to watch. I am here right now to debunk. I am here to tear down, to criticize, in Texas, we call it ranking. I'm going to rank on you. I'm going to roast you. I'm about to talk bad to you. So if you don't want to be talked bad to, just go ahead and log off right now. It's probably best to delete me or block me or whatever it is that has to happen so you don't have to interact with Big Sarge anymore at all. Because I'm about to get in your ass. There's no possible way, none, that at this age and at this point of your life that your lazy ass cannot go and do the research for yourself. No possible way that you can't research for yourself. Also, You know how lazy it is for somebody to just tell you something and you run with that? I don't even allow that to happen to me at church. Oh, I hear you, Pastor. You're preaching. Say a word. Tell them. Keep it going, Pastor. That's what I'm talking about. You had to preach that word, Pastor. All the while, I'm taking notes. He said, what? What did he say again? 1 Corinthians what? What did he say? He said again? Oh, don't worry about it, because I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna rewatch it online. Then I'm gonna research, and then I'm not only am I gonna research this Bible verse, I'm gonna go and use a concordance to find out what was happening during that time on why this verse was written. I am a nerd. I need to know the truth and nothing but the truth before I start spreading or saying something. And I don't understand how you all can't. Yeah, Big Sarge is a little into it this morning, because I am. Because you all have been using this false narrative for a couple of days now. And I said, you know what? I'm going to wait. Just going to wait and see who is going to say it and then retract it. But you all didn't say it and retract it. You all kept it going. So instead of me just telling you all, it's time for me to show you all. Now, let me share this right quick, because this is the false narrative that has been coming out. Now, you see this is right. See this, right? This is according to Snopes.com, the fact checker, the place where everybody loves to go and do their fact checking, right? You see what that says right there? Let's read this headline. Let's read this together, class. Was Jacob Blake charged with raping a child? Online commentators and social media users sought to undermine protests sparked by the police shooting of Blake in Wisconsin in August 2020. Jacob Blake, whom a Kenosha, Wisconsin police officer shot in August 2020, was once charged with raping a child in Wisconsin. False. On August 23rd, a police officer in Kenosha, Wisconsin, shot Jacob Blake several times in the back during an encounter with which was recorded on cell phone video. Blake, a 29-year-old black man, was left paralyzed by the shooting, his family attorney told reporters. The shooting prompted widespread outrage and sparked 3 successive nights of protests in Kenosha and other U.S. cities, adding to an existing wave of renewed protest over racial injustice and police brutality that followed the death in the police custody of George Floyd in Minneapolis in May 2020. Some online commentators and social media users sought to justify Blake's shooting and or undermine the legitimacy of protests surrounding it. As part of that effort, a rumor emerged in the days after the shooting that claimed Blake had been charged with a sexual assault offense that involved sexual penetration of a minor between 14 and 16 years old, and that he was therefore a child rapist and pedophile. Others alleged specifically that Blake had raped a 14-year-old girl and raped a child. Many of those social media posts featured a graphic that comprised what appeared to be a list of charges against a defendant named Jacob Blake, including third-degree assault, juxtaposed in what appeared to be a definition of third-degree sexual assault taken from a statute. The definition stated that a person is guilty of third-degree sexual assault if he or she is over the age of 18 years and engage in sexual penetration with another person over the age of 14 years and under the age of consent, 16 years of age. Thus, the claim was that Blake had been charged with an offense that involved the sexual penetration of a minor, and he therefore raped a child. In reality, Blake was not accused of having raped a child, and that claim was false. Rather, Blake faced charges of having sexually assaulted his girlfriend, and with whom he has 3 children in common. In July 2020, prosecutors in Kenosha County successfully applied for an arrest warrant for Blake on charges of third-degree sexual assault, criminal trespass, and disorderly conduct, of which were additionally designated as act of domestic abuse. That warrant was issued on July 7th. Through a variety of methods, Snopes was able to independently verify that Jacob Blake, who was shot by police on August 2020, is indeed the same person for whom an arrest warrant was issued in July 2020. According to a criminal complaint filed by the Kenosha County District Attorney's Office in July 2020, Blake is accused of having entered his ex-girlfriend's home in Kenosha without her permission on May 3rd, 2020, before sexually assaulting her, taking her car and debit card, and making two ATM withdrawals of $500 each. Blake and his ex-girlfriend have 3 children in common. The complaint can be read in full right there if you go to Snopes.com. Some readers may find it disturbing because it contains descriptions of alleged sexual assault and domestic abuse. Let me stop right there. I'm gonna stop right there for just a second. We're gonna come back to that though. It's sad. Now, I don't want to totally I'm not going to discount the fact that he has a sexual assault case pending against him. I'm not going to disregard the fact that there are charges pending against him for third-degree sexual assault. I'm not. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to address this thing right here. Let's just jump into the sexual assault. I wasn't there. I don't know. He could be guilty. Cannot be guilty. The only thing I can go by is what I've read about what happened on that day that he's being charged for. That the charges have been filed against him. So I don't know if he did it or if he didn't do it. All I'm gonna say is this, and this ain't. Please let me preface my statement by saying this. I am not taking up for anybody. I am not saying that sexual assault happens or it doesn't happen. All I'm going to give you is an example of what I have personally witnessed. When I was at Prairie View A&M, I had a roommate. I won't say his name because he is still one of my good friends to this day, and we follow each other on social media. Hold on for a second. Yeah, my ex-roommate and I, we're still good friends. We follow each other on social media. We lived in a 2-bedroom house. You walk into our house, coming through the front door, you make a right, there's a little hallway. You go to the right, that was my room. You go to the left, that was his room. Our rooms are separated by a bathroom. I come in one night, hear the music playing. For those of you all who have ever had a roommate, you all know that if you hear the slow jams playing, if you hear that playlist, that special playlist going, you know that your roommate got company. I walked in, I heard the music playing, my roommate got company. That's cool, right? So but the music wasn't loud because he was respectful to me. So I, walked in, the music was playing, and then after a while, the music went off, right? Cool. Next day, the young lady gets up, she leaves, she's gone. Got it. Later on that day, we're at the house. Next thing I know, who is it? Police. Police? Now I got to think to myself, do I have a warrant? No. Do I hold back child support? No. I ain't got no drugs in here. Ain't nothing going on illegal. We good. I open up the door. Yeah, we're here for such. Oh, hold on. Hey, bro, the police here for you. Come on out. Police want you. He come on out. He walked to the door. They say, we're going to need you to step outside for a second. He said, no problems, officer. He steps outside. As soon as he steps outside, they said, you're under arrest for rape and sexual assault. I said, what? Bruh, well, what's going on? He's like, man, I don't know what's going on. They said, put your hands behind your back. They started reading him his rights. They put him in a car, take him down to the police station, right? So now I'm trying to get in contact with his people to let him know, hey, he been arrested. He got arrested for blase this, blase that, right? Told him he's been arrested. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I told him, hey, he's been arrested for rape and sexual assault. So he's down there, they're holding this, that, and other. So while I'm sitting there trying to figure out what's going on, right, trying to get everything in order, trying to see, okay, we're going to have to bail him out, whatever the case may be, the police come back to me and they say, we need to question you. All right. Were you here on last night? I was. Were you aware that a young lady was present in the house? I said, well, I walked into the house and I heard the music playing, so I figured that he had company in there. But then the music, later on the music went off, and so yeah, I knew he had company in there. I heard sounds, of a sexual nature coming from the room. I could hear that. So yeah, of course I knew that he had company in the room. I seen the young lady walk out the house the next morning. I seen that. So yes, I know that he had. He said, well, were you aware, or did you hear at any point in time of the young lady screaming for help, telling him to get up off of her and doing this, that, and other? I said, I didn't hear none of that. Well, are you sure that, that you don't sleep hard enough? I was like, nah, I would have heard that, because by this time I had already pledged and I was sleep deprived. So my sleeping habits wasn't the best at that time. So like, I'm up. I said, no, I heard them having sex, but I never heard the young lady screaming for help, because I would have ran in there myself. If I'd have heard that young lady screaming for help, I would have ran in there myself. They say, well, do you know that your roommate has been charged with rape and sexual assault? I said, charged like y'all gonna put him in jail? Charge. It's like, yeah, so we'll need you to come down and make an official statement about everything that transpired. So I went down there, I made my statement, and then to make a long story short, right? Come to find out, the young lady recanted her story. The young lady recanted her story because when she went home, her boyfriend was waiting at her house. She said that she had went to go study with a guy and he ended up raping her and assaulting her. And so she filed charges against him, and the police came. And what eventually happened was, with my testimony and with my roommate telling them what happened, they had to dismiss the case. I only say all of that to say that, once again, I don't know what happened with Jacob Blake and his, the mother of his kids and his ex-girlfriend. I don't know what happened. But what I can say is I know how easily it can go to the left if just by allegations. I understand. And I'm not taking up for Jacob Blake. I'm just telling you what I personally witnessed, what I personally know. My friend is still scarred to this day behind that. He had to get that taken off of his record. He had to get that expunged, even though he didn't do it. So you know what that meant? He had to go through the process of getting that removed from his record, because every time something was pulled, a background check was pulled up on him, these charges were brought up. You think the police even told him we apologize? They did not. So I'm just saying that to say that Jacob Blake had this arrest warrant out for him. This case hasn't even went to court yet. So we don't even know what all entails. All we have is one side of the story. He hasn't told his side of the story. They're going to go to court, and the court is going to decide whether or not he is guilty or not guilty of third-degree sexual assault. And I preface that and I state that because a lot of you all have already tried and convicted him of that, up to and including calling him a child rapist because of that. Now we're going to let me dive back into this case, because so I can get back to you dumbass hypocrites. All right. So in Wisconsin, third-degree sexual assault is not defined as involving sexual penetration of a minor. The definition included in a widely shared graphic was, in fact, taken from the laws of an entirely different state. Jacob Blake was charged with third-degree sexual assault in the state of Wisconsin. How in the hell are you using a law from Rhode Island? Section 11-37-6 of the Rhode Island General Law states, Section 11-37-6 of the Rhode Island General Law states that a person is guilty of third-degree sexual assault if he or she is over the age of 18 years and engaged in sexual penetration with another person over the age of 14 years and under the age of consent, 16 years of age. In Wisconsin, the third-degree sexual assault is covered under Section 940.225, subsection 3A. See that? You see, third-degree sexual assault is covered under Section 940.225 3A of the Wisconsin statute, which states that whoever has sexual intercourse with a person without consent of that person is guilty of a Class G felony. Go look up his arrest record. Go look up the warrants, and you will see that he is charged with a Class G felony. How in the hell do you dumbasses get a statute from a whole nother state applied to this case and then say he's a sexual, he's a pedophile. He raped a 14-year-old girl. We know it. We got it. He did this. Really? Show me the evidence. That's what pisses me off. What pisses me off is the fact that you all don't take enough time to do the damn research, and social media has given you a platform to be able to spread that bullshit. I'm hot. And the reason that I'm hot is because you all use the pedophile angle to justify him being shot in the back 7 times, which had nothing to do with it. A pedophile should have been shot in the back. Really? He's a pedophile. Well, show me where it says that he had sex with a minor. Don't worry, I will wait. We're in a global pandemic. I ain't got nothing but time. Whoever created the widely shared graphic therefore took a screenshot of an authentic list of charges against Blake, including third-degree sexual assault, but juxtaposed it with an excerpt from laws of a different state in order to give readers the entirely false impression that Blake had been accused of committing an act of sexual penetration against a child. He had not. Claims that Blake was a child rapist and had raped a child were therefore baseless. A search of Blake's name in Wisconsin Circuit Court revealed only child support dispute and a June 2018 conviction in Racine County on a charge of operating a vehicle without being in possession of a driver's license, which is not a criminal offense and was resolved with a fine. He got caught driving a car without a driver's license. Blake is not listed in the Wisconsin Department of Corrections sex offender registry, which means he has not been charged with sexual assault just yet. Could he be charged? Yes, he could, but he got to go to court first. The warrant just means that there are charges out against him, and they're going to arrest him, put him in jail, give him a court date, and give him his time in court. But yet you all are using all of this to allow the police officers to be Judge Dredd. Judge them right there, try them right there, convict them right there on the spot. This is the problem that I have with some of you all, especially when you engage me in conversation. And then when I start giving you these type of things, you want to call me names. Because what I'm giving you is the truth. But hey, look, we all know, right? Who gives a damn about the truth, Big Sarge? I want whatever's going to make me feel good. In September 2015, the Racine County reported that Blake had been arrested after brandishing a gun at a bar in Racine and that officers required the assistance of a police dog when Blake allegedly refused to comply with their orders. He was charged with several offenses, including felony resisting arrest, causing a soft tissue injury to a police officer, carrying a firearm while intoxicated, and endangering safety by use of a dangerous weapon. However, Blake was never tried or convicted on those charges, and in August of 2020, the Racine County Eye reported that the charges appear to have been dismissed at the urging of the prosecutor and no longer appear in public court records. In September 2015, he was charged with a felony that included resisting arrest, causing a soft tissue injury to a police officer, carrying a firearm while intoxicated, and endangering safety by the use of a dangerous weapon. However, Blake was never never tried or convicted on those charges. And in August of 2020, the Racine County Eye reported that the charges appear to have been dismissed at the urging of the prosecutor and no longer appear in public court records. Similarly, Blake has not been tried or convicted on the charges he faced in July 2020, including third-degree sexual assault, and has not yet entered a plea in that case. Thus, social media posts that describe Blake as a convicted sex offender and convicted rapist were inaccurate and inaccurate at the time they were posted. On August 24, 2020, retired police officer and right-wing commentator Brandon Tatum published a widely shared tweet in which labeled Blake a domestic abuser and sexual offender, and included screenshots of the 2015 Racine County Eye article, adding the claim that Blake was known for pulling guns on people. As of August 26, 2020, Blake had not yet even entered a plea in relation to the domestic abuse and sexual assault charges against him, not to mention being tried or convicted on them. And the later accusation had to do with the charges that were dropped by the prosecutors in the case. Y'all ready to talk about that? Y'all ready to talk about that? You lazy fucking hypocrites. Stop coming at me with all this bullshit about he is this and he is that and he deserved to be shot in the back. If you don't do this, that, and the other, blase this, blase that. Stop it. Due process says that, hey, we're going to wait to see what happens. Oh, he's a child molester. He's a pedophile. He deserves to be shot. Shut up. The only thing that I say was wrong in the entire Jacob Blake case on incident that happened, the only thing I blame him for is not staying there and complying with the police officers. That doesn't sign a warrant for him to be shot. That's not a shoot to kill warrant right there. He should have complied. He should have stayed on the passenger side of the car. He should not have walked around and opened up the door. He shouldn't. That those 5 police officers should have been able to subdue him as well. That's neither here nor there. I've talked about that at great length. I'm not going to talk about it again. What I'm here to do is to tell you all to stop spreading that dumb shit. Stop spreading it. Stop spreading that he deserved to be shot because he was a child pedophile. Stop spreading that because saying that he raped a 14-year-old girl. My son would never do nothing like that, so I don't have to worry about that. No. Jacob Blake didn't either, so he ain't got nothing to worry about. How do you allow your minds to be manipulated to the point where you allow somebody to circumvent something, put it out there, and you just run with it and believe it? I think I have given you all entirely too much credit. Some of you all, I'm going to go through my Twitter feed and I'm just going to go ahead and start deleting you and taking you and unfollowing you and muting you before you do it to me. Let me tell you all something. Let me tell you all something about me and a couple of other people that I know that I won't mention right now. Let me tell you all something about me. While I'm appreciative of every follower I have on Twitter, that does not make me. Whether 12, 1,200, 12,000, 12 million, I'm going to be the same Sarge. I have gained 20 followers in one day. I have lost 50 in one day. And you know what I do? Keep scrolling. Because it doesn't matter to me because I am not enamored or I am not, I do not get, let me put it like this. Let me get my thoughts together. This algorithm does not make me. Instagram doesn't make me. Twitter doesn't make me. Facebook doesn't make me. What you all fail to realize is that Big Sarge is going to be who Big Sarge is going to be, no matter what. These numbers that these people get behind when it comes to this algorithm, let me tell you something. The followers, those numbers are used to gain sponsorship. When a sponsor wants to advertise with you, wants to use your platform to advertise their product, they go directly to that number. Do you know that those numbers can be manipulated? Do you know that you can buy followers? LeBron James has 47 million followers on Twitter. How many of them you think he knows? He got 47 million followers. He only follow 190 people. LeBron James has more followers than ESPN. You think LeBron James care about if he loses 5 million? If he loses 10 million? LeBron's still gonna get his. And that's the only thing I'm trying to tell you all. Listen, follow me because you genuinely want to follow me. Don't follow me because you think I need that extra follower to get sponsorship. I got one or two sponsors, which I'm cool with, and I love them to death. I do. Have I gained any? It doesn't matter to me though. And if you want to, I put it like this: anybody who wants to sponsor me, do it because you want to sponsor me, not because the amount of followers I have. Because I'm gonna give you genuine content and energy all the time. I digress. I've given some of you all, so much credit that it does not make any sense. And I blame that on me. I'm the dummy. That's on me. That's on me. That's gonna stop today though. Today that's gonna stop. I digress. Please, for the love of everything, I almost said for the love of everything Dallas Cowboys, but that's gonna start a whole nother debate argument. For the love of everything that's right, please, people, learn to do your own research. The one thing that I hate, and I spoke about this on yesterday, I spoke about this the day before. Can we stop criminalizing the victim of these shootings? Can we stop criminalizing the victims? I told you all, I'm going to repeat this. Botham Jean had marijuana in his house from what we were being told from the reports, the police reports. You know how I feel about police reports. Botham Jean was reported to have marijuana in his home. The people who were doing the investigation, the officers who was doing the investigation to save their colleague, Amber Geiger, tried to paint him as a drug dealer because there was a small amount, personal use, a personal amount of marijuana in the house. They tried to paint him as a drug dealer. When Trayvon Martin was killed by overreactive neighborhood watch captain, when Trayvon Martin was killed, they went back and pulled up everything Trayvon Martin had, any type of incidents he had that were negative. They pulled those up, and instead of focusing on the fact that George Zimmerman was told by real police officers. Instead of following the instructions of real police officers and leaving him alone and letting the police show up and do their due diligence, instead of doing that, George Zimmerman got out of the car, got into an altercation, got beat up, and then he shot Trayvon Martin. But instead of saying Trayvon was the victim and George Zimmerman was the perpetrator, you all made Trayvon Martin the criminal. You see how that works? Instead of focusing on the fact that a police officer's tactic in the George Floyd case, instead of focusing on the fact that a knee was placed on this man's neck for nearly 4 hours, cutting off his air supply, instead of focusing on that, you all said, here is a counterfeit carrying fentanyl drug user. You criminalize the victim. And every time in all these situations, you criminalize the victim or victims. Because in this 17-year-old Illinois resident who went to Wisconsin and carried a gun across state lines illegally and shot 2 to 3 people, killed 2, shot 3 at least. Instead of saying, hey man, this guy shouldn't have never been there, you all say, well, they should have never, this is self-defense. He was just defending himself, not realizing that previously before the video starts and you see him running down the street with the weapon, then he turns around and it looks like he's running from a mob, then he turns around and shoots. Nobody ever says that he shot somebody before he took off running. Him and the rest of the people he was with instigated the incident that started him running. Also, I've carried an assault rifle. I know that I can go from semi to burst. You think me with an assault rifle is running from somebody with some pistols? I got a 30-round magazine. And when I switch to burst, when I go like this, it's going grrrr. You think I'm going to run for somebody who got 9, maybe 15 in a clip? This is another thing. You're hailing that 17-year-old as being a hero for doing what he did, and the militia and the mob shouldn't have been chasing him. But once again, I give you all too much credit because you're not going to do your due diligence. And listen, I'm going to say this, and it's probably going to piss some people off, but I mean, if you've been watching this for all this time, you know I don't care. Stop listening to CNN. Stop listening to MSNBC. Stop listening to Fox. Stop listening to these people who have a personal agenda to push you either left or right. Stop doing that. That is one of the main reasons I do not belong to a political party. You're not going to push me any type of way. I'm going to do the research for myself. And if I like what you're saying on the left, I'm going to go to the left. And if I like what you're saying on the right, I'm going to go to the right. I'm going to go to whichever my personal interests align with. Fox News is not going to lead me around. CNN is not going to lead me around. Breitbart is not going to lead me around. MSNBC is not going to lead me around. The problem is, and I've stated this before on numerous occasions, and I'll say it again, is that you all get caught up in Democrat and Republican so much that you ignore facts and ride with party. You ignore the facts and you just ride with the party. Well, if the left say it, then it must be right. And if the right say it, then it must be right. If I'm a conservative, then I'm all conservative, no matter if the conservatives are wrong. If I'm a liberal, no matter even if the liberals are wrong, I'm going to still stick with the liberals. Hey, I ain't got COVID, y'all. I just need something to drink. So I'm about to get ready to get up out of here. I got things I got to do sports-wise. All I'm going to say is this. As I digress back to my original statement, y'all are some lazy hypocrites. And if you don't stop listening and regurgitating things that you've heard instead of things that you've researched, you're going to be lost. You know how y'all love to use the word sheep? You're going to be lost in the sauce, and you're just going to be carried around. And all that time, you're just going to be like, what? 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 They said it on Twitter, so I know it's true. Really? So I get a lot of my information from Twitter. You know what else I do? I take that information and then I go research it. Okay. In this case, he may be charged and convicted with third-degree sexual assault. Jacob Blake may be convicted of third-degree sexual assault after he goes to court. What he's not going to be convicted with is being a child molester or a pedophile. And I'm going to leave you all with this. I need to know the whole story behind this. Because if he was such a deviant, if he was such a bad person, if he was the criminal that you all charged him out to be, how in the hell he got his 3 kids in the car? I know plenty of mothers out there that's not gonna let their kids go with their 3 kids in the car. Also, you may be able to grab 1 or 2, but you just ain't finna get all 3 of them. Not like that. All 3 of them ain't gonna go just like that. And while everything is going on, I'm pretty sure they could have gotten out of the car if they didn't feel safe or comfortable going with their daddy. Now, that's just a Big Sarge, mind-blowing thing for Big Sarge. I need to know the rest. I don't have everything. And it's sad because the only thing that I have to go by is the police reports. And you all know how I feel about police reports. A police report was filed here in the city of Houston against George Floyd that ended up with him being convicted of a crime that he was set up for. Look that up. The police report states that he committed a crime. He was convicted and charged. He was charged and convicted with a crime, served prison time for a crime he didn't even commit. There's an actual document from the Attorney General's office that's out there that you can find that shows that the same crooked police officer that led the charge on killing those 2 people that they said had black tar heroin, the same police officer that's convicted, that's charged, and I think he's convicted or will be convicted of a lot of illegal and criminal activity while he was a Houston police officer. Him and a couple of other people, those people, he was the one that led that he was the one that arrested George Floyd and had him convicted falsely convicted. So when you all get into trying to tell me and teach me about this, maybe you all should do the homework yourself. All right, y'all, I got to get ready to go. I got some things that I got to do, like I said, as far as sports is created. I'm out.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuned into Attention to Orders. I'm your host, Big Sarge. All my Vietnam veterans, welcome home. Germany, good night. All my active duty military personnel that's downrange, good night. It is now time for Big Sarge's Article 15. Come get this work on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm out.